Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. This is Annie 235, and welcome to Module 13. We're going to rig the upper body. This is part 2. And you guys know all the stuff that you need to do. Let's go through the course assignment really quick. So, basically, in a nutshell, we're going to continue the rigging process where we left off with the hips and the leg, the right and left leg. You have the reverse foot set up with the control. You have the knee controls. We do not have the spine set up yet, the arms and the hands and the eyes. So this, as you can see, is quite a long module. Don't let the 6 videos fool you because you have to do the other side. One of the things you need to understand is that I am going to give you the controls, so that will save you a lot of time. Nobody's keeping you from changing the way they look, so if you would like to go in and change the way they look or leave them as is, it's fine with me. You'll have to import. Once you download and zip it, I'll show you where that is in just a little bit. You'll have to unzip it, make sure you have that, and you'll have to import it into your scene. Now, it will not line up with your character, obviously, because I obviously didn't think about your scale. You might have a different scale than my character. We're hoping that your character is scaled to between 5'5" to 6 feet. Don't go any lower than 5 feet tall. And then they should match pretty closely. Again, you'll have to make adjustments, of course, and you'll have to do those. You'll have to do those adjustments individually. Okay. All right. So you're going to create the root joint and continue up the spine to the top of the head. You'll have to watch these videos very slowly, meaning that you'll watch just a little bit of the video and try to do exactly what I did and just do one step at a time. Go very slowly with the videos so you don't miss anything. Do not skip anything. Do not move forward too far or fast forward or try to go too fast with it. Those usually don't work, especially with rigging. Now, modeling, you can put it on fast forward and usually works just fine. And some of you guys like to mute the audio, which is fine. But this one, you probably don't want to do that, especially when we get into adding the set-driven keys to the fingers and the wrist and an expression on the arm. You're going to have to make sure you follow that line for line. That gets a little tricky in the arm and the finger area, so keep that in mind. Alright, so we're always looking at the human anatomy when we're as a reference for joints, but I just want you to follow along with the joints that I have. I keep it very simplistic. I'm not the type of character rigger that uses a lot of joints in the back unless we need to have them. Particular in this character, we don't need that, especially for a pose. I might use more if I'm having that character do a lot more energetic movement or challenging movement. So right now we're creating a rig to actually pose. All right, so with that said, we're doing the upper body, so we're gonna go in here and create some joints in here, and then go up the spine up to the head, and then we'll go ahead and create joints for the arm and finger and hand, and then we'll mirror everything over and make sure the joints are oriented properly using the joint orient tool. Lecture, again, I kept the same lecture we had last module. Because in case you kind of skip through it and you have more questions about set-driven keys, you'll be able to look those up and see it right here. We went through the course assignment. Again, please, when you're watching these videos, now this is just the review video, and I would highly recommend watching that again, just kind of get before we start doing the set-driven keys for the fingers, to watch that again. And rigging basics if you've forgotten some things from the last module. Now, take your time, because the whole idea about this is that rigging can be very technical, and if you miss one little thing that I've done in the video and you miss that, it can have catastrophic results throughout the whole system. So make sure you watch it a little bit at a time, follow along, and actually do it with me if you can. Watch it, do it, pause it, do what you need to do, go slow with it, and you'll get through this pretty quickly. These videos have been tested over and over again. I've already used them 4 times and not had any issues. You may have questions, but make sure that you watch them and pause them and watch them and pause them. I believe me when I say if something doesn't work properly, it'll be the point where you do the hand controls, the very last one. So watch that very, very closely. Okay, this one right here. Okay, all right. So the idea here is that you're watching these videos, pausing them when you need to, and do them. So that's my recommendation. Keep it slow, steady, and you'll get through this pretty quickly. Okay, I would highly recommend that you start this right away. Don't wait on this one. This takes a lot longer than Module 12, the one you just did. That only took like 2 or 3 hours. This one's going to take about 6 to 8 hours to finish this all up properly. Now, I took a lot of the work out of creating all the controllers myself for you to help you a little bit, so you don't have to worry about the mundane creation of controllers, which are just curves, NURBS curves anyway. So when you get all that finished, you want to check your character. And the character will look something like this now. So let's go ahead and take the polygons out so you guys can see. Now my character has been smooth bound, so that means that it's going to have colors on the joints, so don't let that alarm you. You will not have colors on your joints, so just remember that. It should just be green when you click on it. Alright, so when you click on the root joint here, it should highlight the whole system. So that's the first thing you want to check to make sure everything's working properly. Now when I click on the COM controller and I move that down, everything moves down with it. Okay? So everything's got a certain thing that you have to do to check it. And you can also move it side to side, and that's what it should look like. Now we're talking about the COM. Okay. Now the hip sway is different. The hip control, and that's why we have that really crazy little bone system here, where we got one going from here to there, and that allows us to separate the hip joint and the hip sway to be able to do this, which is really cool. Okay, and then the next thing that's really intricate, or it was a little challenging to do, was this guy right here, where we had, when we rotate, we wrote an expression and placed the expression on here, that when I rotate this wrist, okay, at 100%, that it travels and disseminates this joint at 50%. So it gives you kind of, when you twist your arm, so go ahead and put your arm in front of you and just twist it, you notice that your wrist is twisting 100 or 100, just 100%, and then your forearm is twisting like 50% of that, and that's kind of what it gives it a better natural feel to the wrist and the upper forearm twisting. And then, of course, the set-driven keys on each finger to create. Now, if you're going to do the extra credit, you will give me finger spread, a finger point, and some other one. I can't remember which one, but you do have to do a hand crunch where you got the fingers going in. Okay, so you can look at all that stuff when you get into the at the end, the turn-in instructions. We'll get to that in a second. Okay. So you're going to get graded on everything that you turn in. Okay. All right. So make sure you read the grading rubrics, and turn-in instructions. I went through that, and I should have a turn-in video this time. Okay. And then I'll have my video Play Blast movies down here that you guys can watch as an example of what you need to have done here, so you guys will have first-hand knowledge of how that all looks and works. And then the turn-in instructions will show you how to create those. So I've done everything I can to help you out as much as I can. As usual, I'm here to help. Please email me at jbyers3@jcc.edu. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm not interested in helping you. I want to help you, but I also feel like I've painstakingly did these videos for you to watch, and if you start skipping things, you will have things go wrong. And it is really hard once you start making mistakes and things aren't working properly to go back and fix it. I literally would have to start from the beginning, because there are things that build on top of each other, and that's just how rigging is. So just make sure you take your time, watch the videos very, very carefully. Watch the videos when you're watching it with me. Watch small sections, like maybe 5 or 6 seconds of it, and pause it, and then do exactly what I did in the video on your own, on your screen in Maya, and then you can unpause it and continue on, or rewind it and go back to the beginning and watch it again, especially those areas that are really structured to give you specific instructions for a certain specific thing, like in the hand or the eyes or something like that. The eyes is another one that you have to really pay close attention to, in the hands and the arms. So this will be a little bit more of a challenge for some of you guys that have never worked technically in Maya. A lot of times we're used to modeling and texturing, and that's great, but when we get into some technical stuff, it becomes a little more difficult to problem solve it out. It's those simple little things that if you get in a rush, you could miss. And most of you that will have trouble are the ones that are rushing through these things. So start on Monday and get it done, and test it as you go along. So if you see me testing my character, test your character and make sure it's working, and then make sure you save your work. Okay, that's super important. Okay. Well, with that said, you have a great week. Again, we're just finishing up the rigging part, and I will see you guys in Module 14.